It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast show. It's a Tuesday morning, and around about this time, we get into our medical chat of the day. Let's talk summer, right? Considered to be one of the best times of the year to be outdoors, but also being outdoors means being bothered by annoying little critters, and some of them might be eating you alive, leaving you with maybe a little red bump or an itch, or perhaps even some swelling. But when do you know if an insect or a spider bite is dangerous, and what do you do if that is the case? Our trusted multimedia health specialist, Dr. Darren Green, and of course, infectious disease specialist and HIV clinician, Dr. Emille Reid, join us this morning to give us some insight into South Africa's creepiest crawlies. Gentlemen, good morning.
Morning. I was joking earlier, saying we brought out the big guns for a mosquito discussion. I'm currently sitting with about 10 mosquito bites on me now, itching so much I want to literally tear the flesh off. I got eaten alive in Joburg. I left the windows open thinking it was a nice breezy night, and I got chowed. We know, and take nothing away from the amount of deaths that come as a result of insects and obviously malaria transferred by them. But what insects like humans so much? Why are we so tasty to our little insectoid friends?
Well, you can't believe it, that not all insects actually bite. Usually the females.
Okay.
Usually the females, a very dangerous species.
Female species.
And why they love us so much is because of our smell. Yeah. So they recognize the carbon dioxide in our breath. They smell certain things on our skin, and usually they go for the ankles and the feet because they smell our feet. So they love us. And the one thing these insects don't like, they don't like wind. Yeah. Because that's why we have fans, in order to make the chances less of them biting.
So this black southeaster did have a silver lining, actually. So,
exactly. Even though people couldn't walk in the street. Yeah. Sort of blew the insects away. Yeah. And then the second thing, they actually don't like light.
Direct sunlight.
So even if you wear clothes that are white or light, they won't sort of bother you. You wear socks. You put your pants in your socks, and they won't bite you.
Okay.
I'm going to sleep in a test cricket outfit.
Old cyclist, take your pants in.
So what we often see, for instance, like common insects we see in the household.
Yes.
Things like, say, bed bugs.
Yep.
Usually bite us at night. Very easy to diagnose because we see them in our beds.
Lift the sheet up.
Clean it out. And there's a big difference between bed bugs and, for instance, the dust mite.
House dust mite.
The house dust mite. It actually doesn't bite you. It causes sort of asthma and those sort of things. Sure. And then fleas at home. Fleas at home, on our dogs, etc. And they bite humans if they had enough of the dog, or there's too many fleas on one dog, and then they jump around.
They infest areas of the house.
And then the Cape Sand flea, obviously, being one of the most common causes of bites. Amongst children, they love playing in the sand, outside in the grass, and so forth. So that's also quite a common one around the house.
Now, are there insects that are more common during the summertime, or are insects that bite us generally just there all year round?
Yeah, certainly. I think one of the ones I'll just mention quickly is when you walk through the fields and you look at the grass, when you're playing outside during summer months, and you mentioned the lower legs particularly, and they love men because of the hair on our legs. It's easy to latch on and hold on. So you have tick bites. You know, you always hear about tick bite fever as a quite a serious condition. From walking in the field and camping in summer months. We go camping, we love the outdoors because the weather's so great at night time as well. And that's where they latch on.
And I mean, many of the people who present to our emergency rooms or casualty departments come with suspected bites. And sometimes it's not even a bite. So you need to look very carefully. And as Darren mentioned, something like tick bite fever, you have to look between the toes, you have to look between the bums, the buttocks, because you might find the tick there. And if you don't find it and remove it,
human
it will
crevices,
it will
yeah.
just
The head
continue to
often
make
breaks
insects.
off and stays behind on the surface of the skin.
Okay, now that you've terrified us completely to go outside in summer, we're going to focus on the mosquito in just a moment because there are complications, but I'm really keen to know when a bite can become dangerous and what are the most dangerous kind of insects to keep an eye out and try, and how do we prevent being bitten, most importantly?
Yes.
How do we ease the itch, man? How do we ease the itch? We'll get into that in just a moment.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show on a Tuesday. It is Medical Tuesday. The doctors are in the house, Dr. Darren Green and Dr. Emille Reid, and we're talking all about insect bites. It is the summer season, hot weather out there, helping our insect friends get around, bite us. Apparently, we taste nice to them.
And we stink. Apparently, you were saying
they
that's
love
what attracts.
the odor human, the odor human being.
Odor human. So is that the case with mosquitoes, or is there an infrared component? I've heard on TV, I'm sure, that why mosquitoes in particular are so attracted to us, and they obviously love our blood. And is it only the female mosquitoes that bite us or carry malaria? And I'm throwing a lot of questions at you here.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
I think the female species of the Anopheles mosquito is the most dangerous species because it carries malaria. If
Maybe
you
the
look
most dangerous species on Earth, of any animal. Yeah?
Exactly. And I mean, the current statistics are that we sit with around about 3.5 billion people developing malaria in a year.
What?
And if you think about that, the amount of complications and the people that still die of malaria is scary. So the female mosquito usually carries the malaria, number one. Number two, the male mosquitoes doesn't feed on human beings. They actually love the nectar and of the flowers, and they actually don't feed on people at all. Wow. So it's important to remember that when you go to a malaria area, to take prophylaxis and to make sure that when you are there, you're going to make sure you're not going to be bitten by these mosquitoes.
Yeah. All right, well, now that we know that they do carry one of the most potentially deadliest diseases in the world, malaria, what about STDs? And can you get an STD or perhaps HIV from a mosquito bite, given that it does consume human blood, and in that, where it penetrates your skin, there might be an exchange of that bodily fluid, if you will?
Yeah, so the simple answer is no. On a scientific level, I mean, it's got to do with very fine, what happens after the piercing of the skin. There's certain enzymes that are released in the saliva of the insect as well that nullify that process or make the process less likely. I don't know if there's anything else.
No, and the important thing is that the bug causing malaria is called Plasmodium falciparum, which is the most dangerous one. And that specific egg has a life cycle in these mosquitoes. So when they bite us, the life cycle of this egg actually starts and get ignited within the female mosquito. And when they bite a second individual, they actually transfer that disease. And that cannot happen with HIV, it cannot happen with STDs. And if that was the case, just imagine the epidemic that
we'd be in trouble. We'd be in big trouble. How do we avoid a mosquito bite? Bar completely dressing ourselves in test cricket white with a head net, or I mean, is that the lengths that we have to go to?
Well, we recently went to the Kruger Park with my family. So firstly, you need to know which region you're going to, understand what epidemic is true to that area, so that you know which strains of Plasmodium you need to cover for and which prophylaxis can work and so forth. You've got to take into consideration the age of the patient, whether the patient is pregnant or not, etc. And also your travel routine. Do you want to start taking meds 2 weeks before, a day before, and how long do you want to continue taking meds? So there are different products out there with different side effect profiles.
Exactly. And when you get to the Kruger Park, we know that mosquitoes doesn't like wind. So you go into a room where there's fans. Number two, they don't like color. So you actually put up white nets, you wear white clothes, and you cover yourself. And the third thing you can do is to use an insect repellent. And I think the one that is most commonly being used is called DEET. DEET. It's got a long scientific name, but the good thing about it is safe if you use it on your skin, and also it works for about 12 to 14 hours. There are alternatives like citronella and all these other things, but that usually work for only about 2 hours. So you have to put it on every 2 hours, and you have to leave the candles there almost permanently during the evening.
Yeah, some nice new things, even bracelets that you put on, rubber bracelets that are deodorized with the repellent that you can put on your children when they're playing.
And you're absolutely right. Remember, these mosquitoes have odor sensors, so they don't see us. They actually smell us. So what the DEET does, it doesn't kill the mosquito, it actually puts them off.
Okay.
So if they should come closer to us, they're actually going to not want to bite us because of the DEET.
All right. Okay, interesting conversation.
I'm going to get some of that.
With the doctors. And we'll continue on the other side of a short break. Do give us your questions on Expresso Morning Show SABC 3. That's where you can find us on Facebook. But dare I say, is there a little surprise there? Gutle Adams?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
The females of the species are more deadly than the male. That's what we've established so far when it comes to mosquitoes. Doesn't apply to all insects. One thing that does apply is that insects love us as their meal. And we have spoken about insects, starting with mosquitoes, obviously, and the dangers around mosquito bites, how we can prevent that. Let's shift gears to the slightly scarier sting that's out there, the bee sting, and a lot of allergies relating to that, and the wasp or hornet. And if you've ever been stung by a wasp or hornet, you know all about it. There is some pain involved with that. But let's talk about the sting itself. What happens when we get stung by a bee or a wasp or hornet?
You want to start?
So
when it comes to a bee, obviously, people know about looking for the stingel, the little black piercing thorn-like structure that's left behind in your skin.
Often with a little venom sac.
With the venom sac, that's right. So what people don't know is that hornets and when it comes to wasps, don't leave that behind. So it's a different...
And they can sting you multiple times as a result.
Oh, lot.
Correct. They can keep coming back for more. So understanding that there's then an immune reaction and an inflammatory reaction that's created once that venom sac is obviously released under the skin, and a flurry of inflammatory mediators. I'm speaking about histamine, for example, and a whole lot of other chemical substances attract a response to that local area, which is why you get the raised area, which is red, swollen, hot. And the Afrikaans people call it a bommel quite often, where it becomes a swollen, hard bump on the skin that's angry. And then obviously the secondary systemic effects are more the thing that bothers people when you have an exaggerated response called anaphylaxis, where you have then obviously dropping blood pressures, blood vessels dilating.
And it can be really serious. I mean, people can have allergies that strong that you can die from a bee sting.
People can develop anaphylactic shock due to it.
And die.
And die. And that is the main reason why people that are allergic to bee stings should carry around an EpiPen or adrenaline pen. And if they have that type of information and they know of bees in the area, people laugh at this, but one should actually run away from the bees because the bees cannot fly quite fast, so they're quite slow, so you run away from them. And if you do get stung, the important thing is not to squeeze the wound.
Yes.
You should actually remove the sting.
Try and scrape that sting.
And you
away as opposed to
either
squeeze
use a small little tweezer to take it out, or you can actually use something like a credit card and actually wipe it in the different direction of the sting. And it's
Swipe
actually...
the nine.
Yes. Swipe your credit card and remove the sting. And the important thing is that you need to get to an emergency center ASAP if you are allergic to bee sting, if you don't have an EpiPen. And the important thing, if you do have an EpiPen, use it immediately and have it replaced.
So don't wait until you feel other symptoms.
Don't wait until the other symptoms develop.
Can one develop an allergy to bees or wasps over time?
I lost one. I used to be very allergic when I was a small child.
Yeah.
and then grew out of it.
It's interesting, the first bite, or the first sting rather, you often, even if you are later shown to be allergic, you can find the first 2 bites you might not have a significant systemic anaphylaxis. But when it comes to the build-up of the sensitivity, after about the second or third bite, that's when you often then have it. Not the bite, the sting.
Exactly.
Can you test for it?
No.
Just got to wait to get stung.
You will experience it and then make sure it never happens again.
Goodness gracious.
And the important thing what Darren said about this build-up is what we call energy. So the first time nothing happens and your body develops some form of antibody formation with memory cells and everything. So the next time it happens, it actually just reacts. And that massive response of your immune system is more the reason for you to become sick and not the
actual bee sting itself.
A quick one. Whenever you're sitting at a restaurant and having a delightful little lunch and there's bees hovering about, and what's the best thing to do? I mean, now we're going into the realms of
You heard Emille said run.
behavior.
You run, buddy.
Run?
You don't pay your bill because you need the credit card to actually remove the sting later on. You just run.
Swiping at them.
Gotta get it. So you can anger the bee. So
bee.
actually, if it's walking on your skin, you should actually sit dead still if you
Just
can.
leave it.
But the thoughts are the thing that drive people mad.
Blow and run.
So yeah, often a gentle blow can work.
Sure. All right. Well, those are bees, mosquitoes, and hornets. And next up, we'll be talking spiders.
Oh. Freaks me out. That
That's right.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Tuesday morning medical talk time with the doctors. Dr. Darren Green, Dr. Emille Reid in the studio. And we're talking about all kinds of insect bites. A shocking fact, there are some 2,000 identified spiders in South Africa alone. 2,000 different kinds of spiders that could bite you. That is scary.
Most of them really helping us because they eat mosquitoes. Okay, so let's be honest here. Not all spiders are dangerous, but there are some dangerous spiders. How can we, as a lay person, kind of identify a potentially dangerous spider?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to know what's, once again, endemic to the areas you live in. So in the Western Cape, there are quite a few that we've identified.
Exactly. In the Western Cape, we have a beautiful spider called the baboon spider.
He's a big guy.
Yes,
he's a big guy.
And they call him the gentle giant.
Oh.
And what we do with a baboon spider, we know they're around the Western Cape, probably more so, and we just leave them.
Yeah.
If you want to remove them, if you want to shout at them, scream at them, they get furious.
Oh.
And if they do bite you, you're going to feel it because they can penetrate your skin, and they are what we call neurotoxic.
Danger.
They're very dangerous. And neurotoxic means that you have the bite, but there's nothing to worry about initially. And a day or two later, you start to get this tingling feeling, and it becomes more...
There you go, neurotoxic.
And it actually causes hypersalivation. You start to sweat, you develop a rapid heart rate, and you might progress to becoming paralyzed.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's another very toxic spider in the Western Cape called the button spider.
Yeah.
And we find them in quiet, dark places, usually underneath the ground and the floor. So be careful if you put your hand in it. They might be in there. And when they bite you, they actually cause the same symptoms as a baboon spider. They're neurotoxic. And again, like with the mosquitoes, it's only the female spiders that have long enough fangs to penetrate the skin, whereas if the male spider bites you, nothing will happen.
Okay, they can't.
So, and those are the neurotoxic spiders. And then we have a different group called the cytotoxic spiders. And what they are one in the Western Cape called the violent spider. It's a brownish spider with black spots. And the sac spider, the SAC. It's a yellow spider with a black head. And they are cytotoxic, which means when they bite you, you're going to feel it. It's going to be painful. And they're going to develop what Dr. Green said was a bommel. And that bommel actually becomes black.
Yes.
And it destroys your skin
It destroys the
to a degree where you actually have to to get treated with antibiotics.
reaction, yeah.
Massive local reaction. And sometimes you even have to cut it out, debride it, and go for plastic surgery. So if you get bitten by one of these 4 spiders in the Western Cape, you need hospitalization and you need care immediately. And the good thing is that many of the spiders we have around the house are not toxic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're part of an ecosystem.
Correct.
We
They have a
need
role.
them to have balance in that ecosystem. Is there a helpline, or what should we do if we get bitten or see a potentially dangerous spider?
I think one of the things people forget is to actually try and get a photo of the spider.
Correct.
Or to actually catch the spider and bring it with you when you go to the ER to be examined and to be assessed.
Correct.
It helps us tremendously.
And you're absolutely right. And frequently people like us who sees patients on a daily basis, even we phone the helplines. And there's a national helpline, poison and poisonous snakes, venomous snakes, etc. And they are situated at Tygerberg Hospital and at UCT, and the numbers are available for us to phone.
We've got that number on screen right now, 0861 555
Exactly,
777.
that's the number.
Store that as like an emergency number.
Yeah, just have it there. How many
should.
people have passed away from spider bites in your guys' experience? Is it something that happens commonly, or is it just kind of damage done?
I haven't seen that many that result in fatality. Working in the private sector, I have obviously in the Kruger National Park. It's a different story.
Yeah.
We are recently locumed in a practice, so that was quite interesting. Both spiders and snakes.
So
and then,
adventurous.
Yeah,
guys.
there are certain hospitals that see a lot more, and they're so geared. Like Mediclinic Nelspruit, for example, is one of them.
Exactly.
So the people need to be prepped. They need to know what to look for, identify quickly, and to know what anti-venom to give for the correct species.
Exactly. And the big thing to answer your question also, Kat, with regards to how many people do we see, we don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I see these bites and people say they were bitten, but they never saw the spider.
You never know what's
And with a violent spider, with a sac spider, usually come out at night and they bite you while you're asleep. Whereas the baboon spider and the button spider usually bite you during the day. So you actually never have the spider. You actually just look at the wound and you take it from there.
Your way back. Well,
I'm feeling a slight arachnophobia developing in my cerebral cortex.
just your skin crawling
Thank you very
now.
much
Thanks,
for
guys.
joining us. Insightful stuff indeed. And that helpline should be on your screen right now, 0861 555 777. They are at Tygerberg Hospital and available for diagnosis and treatment of any bites that you may have. Thank you very much, doctors.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invitation.